From the John DeVito Broadcast Center, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another broadcast of Paranormal Radio with Bob Trzeciak on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network. So sit back and enjoy Paranormal Radio. And now here he is, the super king of Paranormal Radio, Mr. Bob Trzeciak.
Thank you, John. Now I'm the super king. Boy, I'm getting, more and more, the titles are getting bigger for me. Thank you, John. It's always nice to come here and do these shows. It's a treat for me to do them. It's a real absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for allowing me to do them. Gosh, we got a few good folks on here tonight that I've been wanting to get on for some time. Nat and Eliot, nice to have you both on. Mr. Leland Pierson.
Yep.
Nice to have you on, too, sir. Contacted Leland on Facebook there, and yep, we set this all up, so nice to have all of you on here. Before I get started talking to all of you, and I'm sure we're going to have a great conversation, just a couple announcements I wanted to do. First off, Jack Chavez did a wonderful job doing the Paracon up there last week, Sunday. Was it last week or was it the week before? No, I can't even remember myself. But anyway, I was there, and it was just a great job. He pulled it off really nicely, and it was super. I'm sorry that I didn't get to talk to everyone like I would have liked to. I was just so busy. I mean, I was at my table like nonstop for 6 hours, literally. I didn't leave the table. So I was very busy doing that, and it turned out really nice. So hats off to Jack. He did a real good job with that. Nice with that one. Clockwork Mobile Escape Rooms. That's Mr. Colin Dunlap. Runs the Clockwork Mobile Escape Rooms, and I work with Colin. I do work with Colin over the Halloween season with them. I do palm readings with him in the Midway over there at Midnight Terror, and he's doing a thing now that if anybody wants to use his Clockwork Escape Rooms for anything, for any functions, any party functions, anything, for that matter, anything that he does the astro, he does other stuff too. Give him a call, contact their website. If you use them and mention Paranormal Radio, they'll give you a $50 discount. And then he said he would also give $20 to me, but I'm not taking $20. I'm going to go to me. I'm going to give it to John for the radio station. So we'll get a little something out of that for John there too. So he'll give you a discount, and that will go to John. So Clockwork Mobile Escape Room. She's got like a Salem witchcraft trial escape room, a mummy, an Egyptian tomb that you got to escape from. There's a haunted mansion. I think there's another one, too. I think he's got 3 or 4 of them. He's always expanding his business and doing things different with that, so there's always something new with that. So that will be for him. Thank you to the folks that did last month's show. We had a blast. We had a full crop of people, too. We had a lot of people come on the show. So Carrie from her store over there, Moonlight Bean, over there in Alsip there. Sarah Beatty, Mr. Tim. Oh, my God, I forgot Tim's last name. Tim, not Gibbons. Tim Griffin. Sorry, Tim. Forgot his name. Eileen from Channel 4 Cable. Eileen, I'm so sorry I didn't get to come on the show and do your cable show. That was the day we had the real bad snow, and the day before I canceled, so I didn't come to do the show. So I'm really sorry I didn't get to do the show. But down the line, if you guys get an opening slot or whatever, I'd like to come and do the show for you. So thank you to the folks last month that did such a great job. And then just a couple announcements. Everybody tells me, they said, you got to say stuff that you do so we know what you're doing. So I'll let you know what I'm doing. This Friday, March 18th, I will be at Irish Legends. I will be doing palm readings. I won't be there on St. Pat's Day because it just gets too loud and too noisy with the band and everything and all that. But I will. They're going to be celebrating the whole weekend. So I'll be there on Friday night. I'll be there doing palm readings at Irish Legends over in Willow Springs, right across from what's left of the Willowbrook Ballroom, which is nothing. I'll be there for that. May 13th, I know it's a little down the line, I'll be doing a Chinatown tour with the Bridgeview Park District. So we're already selling seats for that because people like that one. That's good. We do a lot of haunts and stuff with Chinatown and that. We do dinner and the whole thing and all that. So we're doing that. Give them a call at 708-594-1818 if you want to reserve a seat for that one. Tuesday, March 22nd, which will be next week Tuesday, I will be doing a class in palm reading out at the Gathering Lighthouse out in Lombard. Just like a basic class. I mean, you're not going to walk out of it as an expert in palm reading. I want you to practice on your own. But I'll be teaching you some of the basics, some of the major lines, and some of the things, so to maybe give you a little bit of a start with that. And then next month's show, I would love to get Mikey back on, because Mikey is another Titanic aficionado, Mikey from the Ghost Research Society, and him and I, we just sat and yak all about Titanic. And April, of course, is the anniversary of the Titanic sinking and also the Lincoln assassination. And I'd love to get Mikey back on, but Mikey won't be able to come because he changed jobs and he's a little further away in that. But we'll get him back on later. If anyone would like to come on and talk Titanic stuff next month, notify me by Facebook or whatever, and we'll get you on here and do it. If not, I can do a solo show. I have no problem with that. Trust me, I can talk. I can go on with that. So that's what that's what we get coming. There's some other things coming up, some other projects and things too. We'll be talking about that as we get closer to them. Let's talk with the guests now. Eliot.
Hello.
Nice to finally see your face, you know.
It's great meeting you in person.
Likewise, yes. We've been talking with you guys, and I've been seeing all your stuff that you guys are very active.
We're always busy.
Very active in the paranormal, and you're very much in demand, you know. And I think part of it is the look. I think that's what does it. People like the way you look. So that's, you know, it's the whole combination of things. I think it's the whole total package. You know, it's your abilities, and it's the look, it's the whole thing. And that's what's good about that. So, yeah, you got it all going on. So, yeah, you guys are very much in demand, doing a lot of stuff, yeah. You and Miss Nather, yeah. Yeah. Welcome.
Hello. Nice to be here.
Likewise. Nice to meet you, yeah. So you guys, now how did you manage to take some time out of your busy schedule to come here tonight and do the show?
Well, Nat is pretty much in charge of most things, so she made me stop building equipment. She tells me to stop doing things to where we're going to go.
And you have a very happy relationship and a very happy. Are you married?
Yes.
You have a very happy marriage. Yeah, that's what you have to do. You just kind of have to go along with it. You know, they're really the ones that are in charge of the whole thing. So yeah that's how it works.
Definitely.
That's how it all works. So, anything new coming up for you guys that we should know about or that you'd like to talk about? I know sometimes people like to talk about things, sometimes they don't. Everybody has their secret spots and their stuff and all this and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, if it's one of those, don't mention it. We can talk about something from the past.
Well, we can talk a little bit about it. So we're working on documentaries, and they're called haunted documentaries. There will be more as we go.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that's coming out very soon. Can't put a date on it yet, but it's coming out soon. It's of Indiana State Sanatorium.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
And
it's going to be really good.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I'm sure it will. Everything you guys do is really good. I always look at all your Facebook stuff and that. And
thank you.
Thank you.
There's a few folks on there that I really follow kind of closely, and you guys are a couple of them that I do. I always like to see what you guys got going on and that, so it's always nice to see that, yeah. And we kind of think on the same wavelength, too. Some of the things I've seen on there about Joey says, we're sort of on the same page about some of our feelings about certain issues and things and that. So it's kind of nice to see that, yeah. Let's get this other gentleman into the conversation here, too, Mr. Leland Pierson.
Hey, good evening.
Welcome. Nice to have you on here, too. Yeah. Contacted you a couple of months ago, and then we finally were able to get you on here. Yeah. Now, you do not necessarily do paranormal investigations. You do...
I talk to everybody in paranormal.
Yeah.
I talk to people that have seen ghosts. I've talked to Bigfoot, seen Bigfoot. I've talked to witches, ghost hunters. We do small documentaries, too, on, like, historical things throughout Chicago that are supposedly haunted. For myself, it's called Questioning the Weird, is what it is.
What is it called?
Questioning the Weird.
Why? No, I haven't seen your show.
We, unfortunately, we as in me, as I've been really busy over the winter and slightly lazy. All my free time has gone to naps and catching up and sleep. But hopefully...
Oh, so you were hibernating. You're a bear.
I know.
And now spring is coming, so we'll wake up and come and do the show tonight.
I'm back to work. I just did an interview a few weeks ago about sanatoriums and insane asylums in Peoria.
Here we go with this. This seems to be the trend lately with paranormal. Sanatoriums, insane asylums. Sanatoriums, insane asylums. This seems to be the thing. And I'm sure they're very much, the hotbeds of a lot of activity because strange behavior and stuff, goes on there. And especially 19th century. The older the establishment, I'm sure the more because, before the whole thing of insanity was really understood, it was pretty horrible, what was kind of done to people and that. So I'm sure there's a lot of, like they say when the walls, I don't like to say if the walls can talk, because the walls do talk. When the walls talk, boy, they reveal a lot of things. Yeah,
and it was, I won't spoil it, but that was the first story that actually freaked me out that was told on that episode.
Okay.
And I've seen and heard a lot of stories and...
You got to start investigating some of this stuff firsthand for yourself.
Yeah, I've actually, for a guy that does this, I've never seen a ghost. I don't know, or anything like that. Never seen a Bigfoot. Never seen
and
any
a Bigfoot. No, and be honest with you, I don't know. I guess I can say it. Just personal. Now, this is my views on it on Bigfoot. So far, anything to do with Bigfoot that I've investigated or researched on my own, it's somehow or another been debunked. Anything with Bigfoot, they've been. Yeah.
I honestly, with the Bigfoot, obviously I haven't gone and trucking through the woods trying to find it, but I totally believe everybody that thinks they've seen him.
I never doubt people. I don't. Anything, any story that anybody's ever told me about anything, I don't care what that may be, I think they have experienced something. I've had many, many people relate stories to me about some of the well-known apparitions, like Resurrection Mary or some things that go on at Bachelor's Grove and all that. And sometimes when I'm talking to somebody, I don't questioned their credibility. They may have experienced something, but I don't know if it was exactly what they were thinking that it was, but it may have been something. And I think a lot of that may be the case with Bigfoot, too. Like you say, most sound evidence of Bigfoot, there really is none.
With Bigfoot, Les Stroud, Survivor Man, says that there's something out there, and if anybody knows that there's something in the woods, it's a guy that's, like, lived in them. So,
yeah.
It's interesting, though.
I don't doubt that it exists, but just as of late, well, I can't say as of late, since anybody, way back when people first, the Indians, of course, believe in this with all their hearts, the Sasquatch and all that, no doubt about it. I think it all came from them. But any sound, tangible evidence so far, there doesn't seem to be anything. It's all substantial. Even some of the film footage and stuff have all been debunked. And the one real famous footage of the Bigfoot running, when the man passed away, he finally admitted. He says, no, that was my wife. We dressed her up in the costume, we filmed it, and, and for a long time, that was like the holy grail of Bigfoot film footage, and turned out to be not true.
I feel like it's a hard thing to investigate compared to, like, for us, we're going to a location, okay,
it's more
they're
controlled.
In this building.
Yeah.
This is like, Bigfoot's like,
who knows where? Yeah, who knows where? Yeah.
I've noticed too, like in the ghost world, that seems to be like demons. Like everybody thinks it's a demon, and it's not. Like a lot of times it's not.
That's what Hollywood does to us.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people. For many people, as I'm sure all of us sitting here have found out, for many people in the paranormal, newcomers and some experienced people living around a while, I think a lot of them are influenced by what they've seen.
Yes, they are.
And you're not getting the real deal, as we all know. You're not getting the real deal. When you're seeing the movies and you're seeing what's going on that, it's nice, but it's entertainment. You have to, it's entertainment, and if that serves a purpose to get someone interested in the paranormal, it's great that it does that. But you have to remember, that's entertainment, and that's done for that purpose, and then there's the real deal stuff. So, we got to make the separation there between the two. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So now, what have you two seen that has really shocked you, and you said, wow, this was really something that really blew me away, almost to the point where I don't want to do this anymore. I want to walk away from it.
I don't know. We live in, our house is haunted.
Okay.
So some of the craziest stuff that we have happen is pretty normal to us. We have a section where we walled off a door, and the spirits seem like they still walk through that door.
Of course they do.
There's a dresser on the other side of that wall, and everything will get knocked off that dresser. I've hung a painting near there that gets knocked down all the time.
So this is a room that you sealed off?
Yeah, well, it's a door that we sealed off to make two separate rooms with no doors.
Our house is from the 1800s, so it's 1873, and
so the doors are weird.
There was two bedrooms, and then there was it looked like it could have been to a nursery at one point or something.
It could have even been a maid's room, maybe, possibly, or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a door in between the two rooms, and we sealed that door off. But my
so you still have access to the rooms, but not through that door.
Yes, you have to physically go out and go into the other room
because the house is so old that they have everything set up for airflow.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. That's how they used to be. Because so the heat can circulate, and so the cool air can come in the summer and that before pre-central heat, pre-air conditioned days. But people all the time say that why do ghosts walk through walls? Why do ghosts float through the air? The reason you just gave. A lot of times they take the path they were taking in life. And if there was a doorway there and then things have been remodeled and now it's a solid wall or whatever, they're taking the path they took in life. So if they're going through that doorway, if it's there or not, they're still going through it. And a lot of times when they're floating through the air, it's in a staircase or a ladder they're climbing up that's no longer there. So that's what they do.
I have a cool story about that. I used to be a hairstylist, and this was about, 6 or 7 years ago. There's a hotel in Galena, I believe it's the DeSoto, and I actually cut the owner's hair at the time. I don't know if he's still the owner, but he told me a story where they were remodeling or renovating the hotel.
That's a sure way to get things moving when you remodel.
There's a ghost of a woman that goes down the staircase into a wall. Well, they soon discovered when they started tearing at that wall, there was a doorway.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So,
it's a sure thing. Yeah. So, how many of these stories have you gotten? The same kind of things like this from people?
Normally, it's about the same when they tell me their stories. I will say, with the room that you've boarded up, or the half room, have you ever thrown a GoPro or something in there? If stuff's getting knocked over, why don't
I have security cameras all over my house, but our footage, we review it because we're like, what did this? And then we're like, oh, okay, it was just a ghost. We actually have a child spirit in our house that... Do you want to tell the story about him?
He likes to mess with me at 2 or 3 in the morning. He'll poke me. He kicked my suitcase at one point. We use this white noise machine because I can't sleep in silence. I just can't.
Okay.
And he will actually like play with it, and I'll be like, "Not now, not tonight," And it's like I have to tell him that, and
he's
then
letting you know he's there.
Yeah.
Nothing harmful from any of this. Just a little mischief going on and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Making your presence known.
And we do post some of the stuff mostly from our garage. We do have some haunted items in our garage, but for our house, I just.
Haunted items in the garage. You won't put them in the house because they're just a little too haunted to keep in the living space, huh?
I can't
they have
imagine
a party
their own
out
area.
there.
We have a ventriloquist doll.
Oh, yeah.
His name is Wendell. I try not to, like, put him out there because, like, he doesn't choose to be famous or anything. But, so, he's in charge of the spirits in the garage because he's the one that seems to communicate the best through the spirit box with us.
Okay.
So I'm like, listen, here's the rules. You guys hang out in the garage. Don't mess around in the house. I made you your little area. You got like a TV if you want to watch it, whatever you can do. Just play out there. I put some equipment out there. We sit out there and talk to them sometimes. One time we sat out there and they were asking for floaties, root beer floats, and French fries, the little kid was. So we brought those out the next time and we ate. I mean, we gave them a plate, but,
I also have
probably enjoyed it more.
A little mini gym in the garage, and there was one time we were using the spirit box and a flux, which is pretty much like a modern day, like Ouija board. You can do yes and no,
okay.
With a little triangle.
I don't like the Ouijas.
I don't either.
This is more of like a binary.
It's a motion sensor.
Motion sensor.
There we go. But you could be like, are you a male? Can you make it turn red? If you're a female, make it turn green. And I was just out there like asking, like, do you guys watch me when I work out? And I was like, green. And I was like, ooh, that's embarrassing. And I'm just like, because I'll dance around in the garage. I'll do like my yoga and all that. And I'm like, okay.
So then both of you basically, based on what you're kind of telling me here, you're both mediums.
So she's way more powerful than I am. I can sense angry male spirits, and that's about it.
Oh, you're both mediums. Just like I said, you're both mediums. Yeah.
I've had some pretty.
If you're able to pick up on them and talk with them and communicate with them back and forth, you're both mediums.
I've had crazy dreams, like
dreams.
Haven't
we all?
Like.
So the little kid that is in our house.
Morning dreams.
The little kid was my friend as an invisible friend when I was a kid.
Here's the story.
And the first night she slept over at my house. Do you want to continue that? You're much better at telling it than I am.
Yeah, it was the first time I slept over at his house, and I just had this weird dream of this little kid. He was in, like the boy shorts, early 1900s, and he's like, hey, come here, follow me. And I'm like, okay, where are we going? And he takes me around to the other side where that, like, the other room would have been, and he's like, hey, I like to play in there. And he points at this door, and I'm like, oh, okay. And like the next morning I wake him up and I'm like, where's your attic? And he's like, why? I was like, this little boy with the shorts, he had dark hair, he like, showed me he likes to play in some room. I'm not sure what room it would have been other than the attic, and he brought me into the other room.
And there's no way she had
So not
known.
only did you talk to him, but you actually seen him.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
and I described him how he used to see him as a kid.
Cool. Okay.
It was weird.
Now, have you ever taken the time to research this and found out any names, who he might be? What he obviously lived there at one point, or at least was in the house at some time.
I've tried, but like I feel like Google stops at a certain point.
Yeah.
It's usually you get to like the last 40, 50 years, and then there's not really much else. I have researched past owners. I think I got to the owner before, like his parents, and so it would have been in 1970 was as far as I got from that house.
I would think there'd be records like of the house, like when it was first built. If it was built like the 1870s or the 1880s,
yeah,
there must be records and things, of it when it was done, and then through the years too. If there were any remodelings and work done to it, there'd be permits issued for all that. So you might,
maybe
be able to track some of that down.
Society.
Yeah.
Your county clerk.
County clerk's exactly. Yeah, you can get that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. There's a way you can kind of do it, but you guys seem like you're on the right track there with that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm constantly if I go to a place and I start having like weird visions, I'm just like Google, and I start like going through and I'm like, lady died here.
She's found weird. There's been times where she has walked down the street and told me like events that have happened on that street, that there's no possible way she knows about, and
see, this reinforces a real
freaks me
strong
out.
belief of mine with the paranormal. I would much rather work like with you two on an investigation, because you're both obviously pretty gifted mediums. Both of you are. Nah, I know you're shaking your head, but you both are. Hers is just a little more developed than yours is. Yours is a little more special. You're like a medium specialist.
He's kind of ignored, like, actually,
I've
up
tried
until
to
he met
oppress it,
me.
yeah.
Like,
Okay,
he's
so-
been very, like, oh, he was actually a skeptic when I first met him. And the more he came with me...
I can't tell you, well, anyway, before I go down that thought,
no
I want to finish
problem.
this one. I'd much rather work with somebody like you on an investigation that are good mediums than any of the electronic equipment. Because you can get some really good, definite stuff. You've seen him. You can describe what he looks like. You can, you know what he's talking about. You know what they're saying. This, okay, the boxes are going to give me a lot of ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, ting, walla, walla, wing, wing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And this way here, I'd like to, when I'm working with a good medium. Now, there are some good mediums. You have okay mediums, and you have some mediums that are just really not mediums at all, but claim they are. And if you're working with a good medium, you can really get a lot more information. I'd much rather would do that. Yeah.
So-
I guess I'm a little old-fashioned when I ghost hunting.
So with the medium, I've talked to a few and such. But how do you know if they're not pulling your leg or nothing?
So,
Because I
Okay,
obviously
this is
have
what
nothing.
I like to
I
do.
didn't
know.
believe any of it. Let's go to this. So I didn't believe any of this. I would tell her, I'd be like, no, that's nonsense. There's no way that you're just coming up with this stuff. But she would sit there and she'd wake up and she'd tell me about some person that got murdered 5 years ago, and like, there's
Case
no
in
way
point,
she
yeah.
possibly knows about this person. It hasn't been in the news. It's not anything she would know because I'm with her constantly. Or we'll walk past a house, she'll be like, someone, this person died there, and she'd like describe them or something.
Personally, I am actually like hesitant to even tell people that I have like these abilities because of the fact that like it's like
Makes
Are you-
everybody kind of glance at you a little. Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Look, obviously you can know because it's your wife, but it's
Yeah.
like some of these people that have reached out or I've spoken to. I'm not saying that anybody who I've talked to is a liar. I'm just saying like I don't live with them, so I'm not knowing everything.
I don't like to introduce myself as like.
Is there like
oh,
a tell that you
like-
can tell with somebody's joshing you?
So what
I like to
actually
do
got
research
me into all
afterwards.
this?
Yes, that's...
It's funny that you say that you don't like the tech. The reason got into all this is because she would get the tech to like prove what she's doing, and I'd be like, okay, no, that stuff is fake, and I'd start taking it apart and resoldering it and make sure that it's all good, make sure there's not some little chip in there that would like, when you talk to it, it triggers it or something that would recognize. Some devices are set to do that, but like
phone apps.
so.
Yeah.
But so I didn't want to say that. But so I build.
They're always listening.
I build all my own equipment because like I take it apart. Even if we buy something, I always take it apart to see what's in it because I want some sort of physical confirmation of what we're feeling. So if something can trip a proximity sensor that's set to 6 inches, there's something there that's invisible.
So honestly, like my
Yeah.
favorite device to use is digital recorders because when you get a solid EVP, it's like just for me, like let's say because sometimes people put like in their mind already, you go into a location, there's a little girl named Sarah, you're gonna start thinking of a little girl named Sarah. I usually don't get the facts until I'm done with the
That's
investigation.
how I like to do it. I'd much rather go into even when I'm doing a reading for somebody, I'd much rather be somebody I don't know and I know nothing about, or a place I know nothing about and going into it cold turkey than knowing a little something about it. You already have that thought put into your head.
Yes.
And you already know that, and that's a good way to do it. I like doing it that way.
And
I
then
like to, yeah.
getting like an EVP, okay, if there was a little girl, like, hey, Sarah, are you here? And then you get a little girl that says, yes. Then, okay, that's confirming. And then I go to the owner or I do my research. Yes, there was a little girl named Sarah that passed away when she was
When
5.
you're going into a location and the owner of the location or whatever charges you the $300 rent or whatever they charge you for the night now for these places, and he says, yes, we have a spirit here named Sarah. Sure as shooting. When you walk out of there that morning, you're going to say, yep, we contacted Sarah. But if you don't know it, maybe
Yeah.
you're going to contact somebody else.
Exactly. So sometimes I get just the like tiny details of historic facts, like when the building was built, maybe past owners, but I don't want to know any deaths.
Yes,
I
it's
love
good.
architecture.
Yeah, I like knowing about the location, but not about the things going on, if there is indeed anything going on.
I got something.
Go ahead. That's what I was pointing at. I could see there was something you were bursting to say. Yeah.
I just don't want to cut anybody off. So you say that you make your own gear? You make your own equipment?
I build most of my stuff.
All right, so we'll at the sidebar after this and chat because I talked with Ghost Hunters. We went through all the gear and blah, 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 and everybody knows what all the stuff does, but I want to know how it works because you can tell me this spirit box is like, I understand. I work in audiovisual. I work in all this stuff, so it's like I understand radio frequencies. Still doesn't really make sense to me how a radio frequency is doing this.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that we do use, like in the field in general, we use because it is broken. That's none of these devices are made.
Camera.
Yeah, like the Kinect camera or the
which we don't use.
Everything we use is something else that was broken because it's like everything I make. I have to break things to make them because they're not like this is a headset. If I want to use this for ghost stuff, I have to change it into something that I want it to be.
So, now, is there like a is there like a manual that you have gone through, or are you just kind of like you're just kind of shooting in the dark, hoping something sticks?
So,
I know. I'm sorry, that sounded mean.
That's a hard.
No, it's an honest question.
I sit around and I think of things that we interact with on a daily, like any sensors that we use. I'm always researching different sensors and how they work. I'm always researching like I've been looking at thermal paper. I don't think that's a viable option now, but like that was one thing I was thinking of. I was just thinking of anything that we can interact with or that energy in general can interact with, and I'm like, well, let's throw it in a haunted house or the people at our house. I'll be like, here, guys, see if you can use this. I recently had a little musical instrument that you like write with. It was something that David Bowie had. What was the name of that thing? I forget the name of it, but it's like basically a sensor that you take the pen and connect the sensor and it makes it right. So it makes music. And I was like, you know what, guys? I'm going to just set this up here, see if you can move it. Because like, it's nice that we have ghosts in our house because they can kind of test things out.
Mm-hmm, sure.
Quick workshop.
Yeah.
And then I had you said you don't do Ouija boards. Do you all?
I think they're pretty. I actually own 2 that are hand carved, but I don't personally use them. But honestly, I feel something like a spirit box is kind of close to using a Ouija board, to be honest, because it's like if you're contacting them in any way, I feel like a Ouija board. Honestly, I don't trust Ouija boards because I feel like people.
I don't trust humans.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't trust it because it says Parker Brothers on the corner too.
So what you can do with a Ouija board is on the planchette. If you stack a deck of cards on there, you can see. You have people put their hands on the cards. You can see by the way that the cards shift in what direction the planchette was pulled.
It's clever.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's ways it can be faked, but there's also ways. Too many people fool around with Ouija boards, using it as a parlor game, and not knowing what they're getting into.
Same with scrying mirrors.
Same thing almost happened to me. I was in Geneva, Illinois, and in an antique shop, I found a real nice Ouija. And I said, "Oh, this would be nice." It wasn't the Parker Brothers one, because I used to work for 24 years. I worked for Toys R Us, so I know what they looked like. They used the old box used to have the picture of the hooded figure on it, very mysterious looking. But now the word has kind of gotten around about this. Don't use the Ouijas. So what they did is they renamed it, oddly enough, the Spirit Board. And it is now being sold in a very pretty pastel-colored pink and yellow and blue box. And it's a Ouija's a Ouija. I don't care how you disguise it. If you put ribbons on it, it's still a Ouija. But anyway, this one was a real nice old one, and I was going to buy it. And I said, I could use that when I do my presentations on fortune-telling. It'd be nice to have one there. And I thought, nah. I'm not going to. It'd be too tempting for me to fool around with it, and I just don't want to. So.
And you don't know what energy has been put into that.
Yeah,
it's not even just what the object was meant for. Someone might have put bad energy into it.
Yes, and then you release it. So no, I don't like to fool around with those. No.
No.
My mother won't come into my apartment because I have it nailed to my wall. She's so afraid of them.
I've got a shirt. One of the paranormal groups. I get these shirts from the different paranormal groups, and one of the groups has the Ouija board on their shirt. And I said, okay, fine, that's not an actual Ouija board, it's on the shirt. I'm not really using that for anything, so okay, I'll excuse that one. But the actual Ouija itself, no.
No, and with anything like scryings, like we just did a scrying, and I did it we work with a witch, and I personally never did one, and she sat down with me and did it with me, but like I was like, because it's something that I've always wanted to do, but I didn't want to do it by myself, and
sure.
I knew when I went like too far when I'm like, we're done.
Okay, we're done with this. That's it. The time back away.
People don't know their limits. Like with the Ouija, I feel like, people are messing around with those. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know who they're contacting. You don't know, so it's just like, you got to be careful with literally everything you do.
Absolutely, yeah. And there are no, you mentioned, is there a guidebook or anything about that? No, there isn't. That's the thing about the paranormal. Down the line, I do see the paranormal going that way, where there will be guidelines and regulations and things set up about it. But right now,
well, that's why it's para, though. It's because there isn't. Somebody needs to write a guidebook. Well,
I always like to use the example, and you probably heard me say this time and again, and it's probably just old hat, but I always like to say it. I like to compare the paranormal now to what chiropractors were maybe 35 or 40 years ago. Chiropractors were thought it was quack medicine. They're not even doctors. You don't go to chiropractors. That doesn't do anything for you. Now they recognize it for what it is, and your doctor will recommend that you see a chiropractor. They found some benefit to it. Paranormal, I think, is going to go that way, too. It's going to be like parapsychology, where eventually it will be recognized as a science. It will be a little more regulated. Now, when I say regulated, I don't want, you don't want too many regulations on it because you want to keep things open. But I think it'll be a little more guidelines to it, more regulated. Because right now, anybody can go out there and say they're, everybody is a paranormal investigator. Who's to say you're not? And the other thing that really bugs me, too, is certification.
Yeah.
These people that like to certify you for $35 or whatever, you get your little certificate. I'm a certified paranormal.
Yeah, I'm certified. You got your gold
certified you. How are you giving certification certificates? So I just have a little trouble with that. And that's also that I like to put the warning out there, and I've seen some of the stuff you've written, too, about that, is be careful. When you're getting a team to come in and do something in your home and that, do your diligence, do your homework, and watch who you're getting. Because so many of these people, they've probably been doing it for 2 months.
Also,
and
you're
bringing them
into
your home. You had an experience with
I got a really good story.
Here we go. Okay, see, this is kind of reinforcing what I'm saying.
I just want to say real quick, also, if you are a team and you are going into houses, you need to be very, very careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times the team goes into the home. Yes, you're looking for them to help. Okay, what are you looking to do with this? Are you looking to know that there is definitely something going on there? Are you looking to, we already know that, we're past that stage, are you looking to have it be gone and get rid of it? What exactly are you planning to get out of it? A lot of times the team's going in there, they just want to get evidence. Mm-hmm. They don't give a damn about what your goals are. They're just there because it's a good location. You're telling them, we want to get some evidence, and we want to be the first one into that location, So you got to be a little careful with this and watch what you're doing. Leland had something to say there. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to cut into you.
No. So basically, those kind of piggyback on that, it's like when we first started doing the show, we didn't really know how to get in contact to anybody. So my co-producer, Lloyd, would just go on the Craigslist, go on the random Facebook boards. And it made sense, but he would do was he would get the person, and then he would just immediately send it to me. I'm like, who are you? What's going on? And he didn't vet these people at all. And one of the persons said that we can go into this haunted insane asylum. Well, I'm not a ghost hunter, but we wanted to interview and see the process. That's what the show's all about. And this guy, he went from being very cool, very calm, to very clingy, crazy. Because he was like very threatening and
very
scared.
Aggressive. Yeah, that's the wrong way to be.
And then he even questioned the name of my show, saying that it's insulting to the paranormal community. And then,
wait a minute. Why did you choose to come on here then? Right?
And I was like,
I would have asked him. I would have said, why did you choose to come on? We didn't pay you.
Right.
You weren't forced. Why did you accept it? Did you what?
And he claimed,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you, but why did you come on the show?
That's where I was. I'm like, it's not very insulting because these things are weird and we're questioning them.
What a horrible guest! What a horrible person!
We didn't even. We bailed last minute because he said that basically he was going to take us to state property to an insane asylum that he claimed that he had permission to be on.
He might have been an inmate there at one point.
And I was like, I am not
asylum?
going. I don't know if
was it Mantino?
It was Mantino State Hospital. Yeah. And not that I've done this, but I've gone in there.
We've all not been to Mantino.
But I was just like, I'm not going to this place because, one, I don't want to go to jail, and two, I don't want to get maybe robbed by somebody or beat up.
You got to be careful with some of these things too, because there are people that do like to hang out in these locations. Yeah. You got to be careful.
Yes.
I feel like you might know who I'm talking about.
Maybe
we'll say off the air.
We'll talk off air. Yeah, I love institutions and asylums and sanatoriums because for us, mental health is such a big part of what we do, and I feel like we can connect with the spirits there.
Yes, yeah. I personally, there are some of my. It's just so many emotions, And I feel like when we go to these places, it's like you're taking yourself and just putting yourself in these like people's shoes for just, I always like to take at least 10, 15 minutes after every investigation, just sit, look in the empty hallways, and really soak in like wow, like
step
this
a little
happened.
carefully with that. When someone else's problems start becoming your problems, you gotta be a little careful.
Yeah.
So just be a little cautious with that. Yeah, you I kind of get the feeling that you know what you're doing with that, but just be a little careful.
It's just
it's a little easy to absorb maybe too much of that.
Yes. No, once I start feeling I actually have stepped out before, like
I've had
during
it happen
an
to me,
investigation.
and I'll go through times where I step away from paranormal totally and just take a paranormal break.
You do
and
need
I'll go
a
do a
break.
program or something on Sears Roebuck or something.
Yeah.
I
just
took
totally get away from.
I took a break from the holidays. I took a good month off, like December to January. You need it.
It can get a little overwhelming. It can.
Drains
She's
your
real
energy.
good about when we are on an investigation. If something is overwhelming her, she's like, I need to get outside.
Yes.
We need to
and
go.
honestly, I won't
grounding.
go into an investigation if I have a negative attitude, if something happened beforehand, like if someone passes away and I'm already in, like my energy's low, I won't go on the investigation.
You got to go into it open-minded. You got to go into it, very clean about it, and just go in, you have to, and you have to go into it. Just keep an open mind. Keep your thoughts free. Keep your thoughts clean, and that kind of thing. And then, like we say, it's always better going in cold turkey and not knowing a whole lot about it. Yeah. So many of the locations now, unfortunately, in the paranormal now, the big trend is, okay, we've got an old warehouse here that looks real creepy. I'm going to buy it, and it's haunted. And I'm renting this out to investigators. And, a lot of these locations, just because something is old and it's abandoned and it looks creepy, they're not really haunted. Not every single thing is haunted. They're really not,
Yeah.
So,
I
unfortunately,
agree.
that's the trend you're coming into. So it's just another way that someone has found to add a little more coin to their, put a little more coin in their coffers. So you just got to be a little careful with that. And then, like we just said here, we kind of reinforced it. Be a little careful. If you do feel like you're having some activity or something going on in your home with that, I always like to put the warning signs out there with people. With any of this stuff, anything to do with psychics, any of this, mediums, any of that stuff, be a little careful. Kind of do a little research on the person and that, because there's so many people out here doing this. Everybody has a different style they do it. Some people really don't know what they're doing, and you got to be very careful with this kind of stuff like that. And you can sometimes bring somebody that's really maybe should have been an inmate in one of these asylums rather than be out there doing this. So you just got to be a little cautious with this, and be a little careful with some of this that's going on. They're not all bad people. There are some people that are very genuine and really know what they're doing, and they're careful about it and that. But there's also a lot of other ones that aren't. So just be a little careful.
A lot of the question I like to ask people is, what got you into the paranormal, and like, why do you do this? Because then you get to see what people genuinely. Because I love communicating.
That's
with
usually
them.
my first question. That's usually my first, and I'm sure you probably found the same thing.
You're
What
right.
got you into the paranormal?
Exactly.
And usually, what's the answer you always get?
What I always get is usually from their parents or old creepy house.
Oh no! See, mine is the answer I used to get. My answer for it is personal experiences.
Yeah.
Something
Well,
I
that
had
too.
happen that I couldn't explain myself, and for a long time too, maybe denying your abilities.
My main thing is prove my wife wrong.
I find this when I do. I find this when I do readings for people. A lot of times I'll find somebody and I say, you have some ability yourself, but you're really kind of doubting it, and I can see that. And a lot of times they'll tell me, they say, you're right. There is. I says, I bet you a lot of times you said, I knew what you were going to say. There was something I wanted to tell you. I knew it was going to happen that way. You say, gee, that's sort of coincidental. It really isn't a coincidence. You got to start exercising this a little more, and it's going to get more developed as time goes on like that. And then I've had people come back to me and tell me, yeah, you were kind of right about that. So it makes you feel good that you're at least maybe steering them in the right direction. Not that I'm the authority on this, but if you can, anytime you can do something that can benefit or help someone else, it's always a good thing. I always feel, and likewise, anybody that benefits you, that can help you or something like that, I always feel that's a great thing. There's nothing better in life than that. There's something that you can do that's beneficial to somebody else that way. So, yeah. Yeah, so you start developing your skills too, and don't be denying these things and that.
I have been over the last year or so. I've been more open to it. Although, like I said, I seem to mainly sense grumpy or angry male spirits.
Well, you're a specialist. Just like we have doctors that specialize in broken legs or broken arms, or they specialize in diseases of the throat or whatever. You're a paranormal specialist. You specialize in grumpy old men.
You'll talk to me when I
down the
die.
line. Once this all gets certified, and we get the regulations and all this, we'll have paranormal specialists too. We specialize in grumpy old men. We specialize in little old ladies. We specialize in children. You know.
You got a grumpy old man in your house, I'll come talk to him.
I got a random question for y'all. So you've done a ton of investigations, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of this, and just being the skeptic side of myself, how often do you find that there's nothing there and it could just be, like arc electricity is a thing that messes with people, radium, like... How many times has it been actually tangible and nothing's there?
I really want a Geiger counter. Someone give me a Geiger counter. I'm just throwing that out there.
So, I would say, 8 out of 10 times the place is haunted. There's usually, 1 or 2 places that we just don't get anything. And I don't like to say that it's 100% not haunted. It just may
be the wrong time, maybe the wrong person, not the right, conditions, everything has to kind of click.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen. It could be a very, very haunted location and you're there and nothing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, too, do you find this, too, like when you're with a team or you're with other people, sometimes
yes,
one person is picking
it
up on it and another person is standing there and nothing at all. They're feeling, I've had that happen. I'm picking up on something, there's a person standing me and they're telling me, you're crazy, there's nothing going on.
The people that you bring along with you could actually kill the activity. Because, if that person's, grumpy butt,
the wrong person.
I wonder if that's me then.
No.
They're just like,
wrong
a lot
person,
of
right
times,
person, wrong time, right conditions in the atmosphere. A lot of things kind of combine to it.
Yeah.
A lot of them,
A lot of times when we're on investigations, she'll be standing there and she's like, "Did you hear that?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't hear anything." And then on recording, there'll be a voice right before her, but I don't hear it ever.
But then later on, you'll do something else you'll hear, and somebody else doesn't. So
I think it's also they call it clairaudient, and I do believe I have that ability. But I also do believe, we all hear at different frequencies. So if the spirit is, let's say, female, females actually tend to hear females better than we hear guys. That's why female hearing actually tones out male voices. That's why when you hear that saying, are you listening? Guys actually prefer guy voices.
So it's not my fault when I don't hear you.
Yes.
Now, with doing the EVPs, I know it's kind of hard to do it in an audible sense, but can you ever, because the human ear can only hear from a frequency of 200 to 10K, is there a way to figure out what the paranormal frequency is? And obviously, a recording is different than out in the wild.
So I actually have headphones that I use that enhance vocal frequencies mainly, and then we use Audacity to modulate the audio sometimes, just to see if there's something at a different frequency. I always test for infrasound on my phone too, because sometimes there is infrasound messing with people, and I have blasted infrasound before, and don't do that because it does weird things to the human body.
Now, have you ever thought, now on Audacity you see it's at I don't know, let's say it's at 500 hertz? Have you thought about taking an equalizer at a PA and a measurement mic and throwing it out there and just bringing that frequency up and everything else down?
That'd be really cool to test out.
I have all these things. We can try it sometime.
We should.
Just let me
do
know.
It.
Setting up
he has a bunch of audio stuff. That's awesome.
Right? So, or we'll blow our ears out. One of the two.
Let's just not blast infrasound.
My question is then with this too. See, I always like to play devil's advocate with these things. To many people, I may sound like a skeptic about this, and believe me, I am. There's no way that I'm a skeptic, or I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But if these entities, these spirits, whatever you would like to refer to them as, have something definitely that they want to communicate to us, why do we need all this to do it? If they really want to give us a message and they want to say something to us, and for some reason they want to contact us, or we're there and they would like to have something they want to say to us, why do we need all this stuff to get them to come in? And why is it in such a way that we can barely understand half of it? Yeah, you get a word here, or you get a word there, or you get something here or there or that, And, why is it all, there it said Leland. Oh, there it said Nate. It said your name. It did, you know what I'm talking about exactly. So why is that, And then I get the people that give me the explanation. They say, oh, well, you know what? You have to have the trained ear. When you have the trained ear, you can really hear this. And then some of them say, well, you have to play it backwards. I'm like, oh, come on now. If you start playing it back, what else do we have to do? Stand on your head in a corner and listen to it with, no. If it's something they want to communicate to us, somebody's coming from the other world, they have some message they want to say, or they want to make their presence known, they're going to make it known. And you don't need a lot of other things to bring them into it.
And with our evidence, I try to keep it just, visual and audio. I try not to do too much of, whatever. Once in a while we'll do experiments, but a lot of our stuff is EVPs, and I'll hear them right then and there.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm doing is literally just, either making it a little louder so you don't have to use headphones. But for me personally, they come to me pretty quickly, pretty audibly.
Yeah,
so
some people are just a little more in tune with it than others.
Yeah,
They really
and
can pick
for
up
me,
on it,
I think it's more of like, oh, I experienced this.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want you to experience it. And sometimes when they watch it, they're like, "That's so cool," and other times they're like,
it's a hit and miss.
yeah, and
yeah.
I don't know. I just get so pumped about it. I'm like,
yeah.
like guys, they tried so hard to like say something, and this, even if it's like a huh.
And you find like sometimes like when you least expect it.
Yes. We'll be conversating like
for me,
this.
90% of the times for me.
And then
like
there's just a guy that's like, hello, like, and you're just like, did
I've
you
had
hear
people
that?
come here and do this show. We've had people, and they say, yeah, there's some activity or something going on back here. They pick up on it, and I'm like, as many times have I been here, nothing. But now it doesn't mean, because I don't get it, that there's nothing going on here.
Yeah.
John lives
Could be
here
a
and
grumpy
nothing,
old man.
Yeah,
that-
John lives here, and he says he's never nothing, But we have had people that come on, and they swear that there's like activity right back here, like by the doorway. But, okay, fine,
So I feel like, if there's spirits and they want to talk to you guys, they might do that. I don't know that what I'm trying to find is spirits. I don't know what I'm trying to interact with, but there's something invisible that can interact with my devices and that can talk to us when there's nothing there. I don't know if it's a cryptid. I don't know if it's an alien. I don't know what it is. But there's something that can set off stuff.
You're on to a whole other project here. I got contacted about a month ago by somebody that I haven't actually contacted in a while, and the person contacted me about a project. I don't think I'm the right person for the project, but the person wants me in on it, and it has something to do with that. There's also like 3 people he wants involved in it, and I says, I don't really think this is for me. I think it's more for the 3 of you, because you're more tech, but it's got something to do with alien communication.
Yeah, he's definitely more like techie, like anything is possible. I'm more
the person
about
wants
the
me in
ghosts.
on the project, and I says, I really don't think I'm right for this, but if you want me to, whatever I have to contribute to it, I'll do it for you, but I don't, okay. But
sometimes it's good to have an outside view too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But no offense to anybody about that, but like if aliens, extraterrestrials are trying to get in contact, are they going to try to speak with somebody that's running around with a tape recorder in an insane asylum, or like a scientist at the Alaska Research Center?
Okay,
like
now,
I said, I have no idea what I'm
here's
talking
the rub.
to.
Here's the rub. We're going to get into a whole other subject here, and that's fine. I love this. Now, this may be a way they kind of cover who they are and what they're doing and where they're coming from. Now, we always know, God only knows, we all know this, that there's something else out there besides us. We know that for a fact. But so many of these things are debunked as, that's not real, this isn't real, that isn't real. It's a good way for them to have camouflage. Mm-hmm. It's a good way for them to be camouflaged. Now, go back a century ago, very, very few people, very rarely did anybody ever report seeing anything. Because, why? Who was flying then? What was up there? What kind of air traffic did we have? We had nothing. No one started flying until 1902, except for hot air balloons and dirigibles, So, all right, something that you would have seen some light in the sky, people would have really took note of this. We can't really go incognito. Now we can be a little more secretive about that, and we can kind of do a little more work with you guys and see what's going on with you, and we can be a little mistaken for something else. Could very well be with these ghosts. Maybe we're all onto the wrong thing here. Maybe we're not contacting ghosts. Maybe we are contacting extraterrestrials.
Or like possible rips in time or something.
I think that's more believable than
that's one of my.
I firmly believe in time
that's one
travel.
Of my main things too.
I firmly believe in time travel, very much so. I believe it is possible.
So one thing I read lately was we've invented time travel, but we haven't invented space travel. So if we travel in time because the Earth is moving, we will be out in outer space.
If you can travel, if you're able to travel at the speed of light, which we haven't been able to do,
that would be pretty cool.
That's another thing. Like, can you imagine? So, like, the human eye too can only see so much light. Same with cameras. Like, it's like, what are we not seeing? And we could have a whole world around us right now. Like,
we do. We do have a whole world.
Oh yeah,
rays
now
and stuff.
There's a person,
radio waves, even
a good friend. And over the Christmas holidays, the person got very ill, very, very sick. And I did not know this. I found this out after the illness was all over. But she got ill to the point where she was unable to get out of bed. She couldn't move. She couldn't lift her arms. She couldn't lift her legs. But she was conscious, and she knew everything was going on. But yet she was unable to move. She was unable to speak. And she says, I really firmly believed this is it for me. Someone is going to find me dead. I'm going to die. This is going to be it. And then she sort of fell asleep. She, whatever she did. And this kind of went on for a while. She was kind of sick this way and everything. And then eventually she came out of it. Well, then right away, she immediately, what would you do when you had something like this happen? You contact your doctors. You contact the medical people in it. And I says, did you get your results yet? She says, no. They ran all the tests and everything. I haven't gotten anything. I says, let me know. I'm not going to say anything to you. You let me know when you get all your test results back, what the doctors have told you. You let me know, and then I have something to say to you. 2 weeks later, we got together, and she said, my doctors couldn't find anything. They couldn't find anything. My doctors could find nothing wrong with me, none of the tests, everything came back negative, they couldn't find anything wrong. I says, you know what happened to you? I'll tell you exactly what happened. You had an alien encounter. You had an alien encounter. You had an alien enter your body. You had something happen, and it's something you can't explain. Now she has one more test. They're doing something else. I says, let me know how that test goes. I said, if they can't find nothing at all, because I says, she says, oh yeah, there was something wrong with me for sure. No, hands down, no doubt about it. She said, I thought I was dying, but the doctors could find nothing wrong. I said, you had an alien encounter. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. You had an alien enter,
I'm actually going to a location where someone has a possible alien sighting in like a week or so to go see if we can find anything. I mean, I'm not huge into the alien stuff. I don't know that much about it, but someone I'm going with...
You might already be into it and aren't aware of it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, you're going to go there. Well, let's bring some paranormal equipment and see if it does anything at that location.
Now, something else that happens too is when you get lapses in time that you're unable to account for. And this has been happening to me since I had COVID, because I actually had COVID not the prior Christmas, so like a year before I had COVID. After I had COVID, I got lapses in time that I couldn't account for. And it's also a sign that there's some alien stuff going on there. Yeah, somehow you're having some sort of contact with aliens. Yeah, when you have time that you can't account for. Yeah. But now I think since I've mentioned it, I'm not having it so much anymore. So okay, he's on to us.
You ruined their
experiment. Yeah, you ruined our cover. So we're moving on to somebody else now. You caught on to us. Yeah. But this other person, I says, let me know because she had everything done. She had all this stuff done. She was in the hospital for 2 days, and they ran everything out. They could find nothing wrong.
Grief.
Wow.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This might be more towards you, Bob, but like, obviously, everybody's got a ghost story. Everybody's
sure.
Mm-hmm. Everybody will talk, like, doing the show that I do, like, trying to get people to talk about things. I can't ever get anybody to get on camera and talk about aliens. Like, they're embarrassed, it seems like.
Oh, no.
I can't find anybody.
It's very hard to get people that have had encounters to actually talk about it.
You're talking to the wrong people. Why aren't you talking to Sam Maranto from MUFON, and why aren't you talking to Roger Lorella and some of the people I've had on this show? Oh, they'll freely tell you about, not so much about aliens, but UFOs.
Well, yeah, UFOs, aliens.
Now, I
firmly believe
that last spring I had my first UFO encounter. I firmly believe I had my first UFO sighting, I should say, with the UFO. Something I was not looking for, wasn't expecting, and there it was. And we have a neighbor. I was walking. I was actually coming home. If you can listen to this, I was playing bingo at a bar. Now, oh yeah, sure, you're coming home from a bar and you're seeing UFOs, right?
It's always like that.
I know how this is going to sound. But anyway, I'm coming home from the and it wasn't bingo, it was trivia. They had a trivia night there, so it's about 9 o'clock at night, and I'm walking home from the bar, going to my house. And a man, like across the street from the complex where I live, in a house, he says, hey, take a look up there. Don't you see what's going on? Take a look. And at first I didn't know he was even talking to me. I didn't know he was talking to me. And I said, what do you, and finally he says, no, you got to look up there. And he says, yeah, you. Okay, I go up, I look. I'm looking between the trees. I see nothing at all. He comes over. He walks across the street. He says, I know who you are. He says, I see you walking all the time here and there. He says, you're Bob. He says, he's always known you go to the library. I says, yeah, and he says, I'm Matt. I live right over here. I said, oh, nice to meet you. Had no idea who he was, but apparently he knew who I was. So anyway, as we're talking, he's, oh my gosh, there they are again. Go take a look now. Sure enough, there they were. I see them. Long, like cylinders, coming across in a straight line, spaced exactly apart from one another, and they're going across. They came out of nowhere. I could see nothing that they came from. They just sort of appeared, and they went into nothing. And we must have watched them for 5 minutes, and there probably were 50 or 60 of these things that just kept coming, and kept coming, and kept coming, and right between the trees, just as he said it was, like 3 minutes before, there they were again. And we just stood and we watched it. He tried getting in on his phone, of course, what happens, it doesn't, the malfunction, doesn't come out, couldn't get it. And I says, you know what, Matt, this is just too much to. He says, I never seen anything like this. And I says, this isn't a plane. This is nothing, because I says, planes aren't going to be shaped that way. Planes aren't going to be lit that way. They're not going to be spaced apart like that. This is just something else going on here. So I said, I'm going to call the police and see if anybody else saw this besides us. So I called the police and I says, okay, here we go. I says, now you're going to tell me. I says, you're making this up, or there's something wrong with you. I says, and this isn't going to sound good. I says, I just came from the bar, Dakota, from the bar on Pulaski. I says, I walked home and I went through the whole story. I just told them that and everything like that. They says, no, I says, okay, fine. They sent 2 police officers out. I talked with them. They made a report on it. And they says, no one reported anything. And I said, well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bother you for nothing. But I says, we definitely did see this. It's there. And they talked to me. They could see I wasn't drunk or anything. I was, talking sense. And I says, no, I never really experienced anything like that. About a week later, I'm walking back down that way again during the day. And Matt says, you know what, Bon? He says, other people saw it too. He says, they didn't say anything about it, but there were other people that did report. I found out about this. And you know what they're trying to say it was? It was signals from Tesla. Tesla was sending up electronic signals. They were going to Florida. And I says, do you believe that, Matt? And he says, no, I don't. I says, I don't either. I says, I don't believe that's what it was. I says, that's what they're explaining it off as. So, okay, there you go.
I've seen weird lights before. I mean, I didn't report it because, I'm like, whatever, someone else. We were downtown Chicago.
I just wanted to know if it was like military signals or something, whatever it was. And they said nothing,
I saw one ball of light split into 3.
Oh.
Spinning.
That's definitely UFO.
My dad's high-rise?
It was in a high-rise downtown Chicago.
Oh, that's definitely a UFO.
It split into 3, spun in a circle,
I was there,
and then went back.
I went
and we
to
were all
grab
watching
my camera, and they were gone. I saw it for like 2 seconds. Like, that's a UFO.
Because when you see it,
you're
not
like, go grab my camera.
You're not ready for it. It's the unexpected. It's like any of this stuff. When you're going on an investigation, you got the equipment, you got the cameras, you got the recorders, you got everything. You're ready for something to happen. We're looking for it. Okay, I'm just walking through the woods, and I'm not expecting this.
Well, also, I'm trying to figure out what it is before I start filming it, because if it's like just an airplane, I'm like, oh, great, I filmed an airplane.
That's where your logical reason. That's what I always tell people about the paranormal. He says a good deal of the work that you do in the paranormal is not proving that something from beyond does exist. You're actually disproving it. Because a good percentage of what you're getting can always be debunked, and it can be explained off as something normal rather than something paranormal. Was it something in the lighting, something in the shadowing, something, one person sees it, okay, 2, 3, 4 people see the same thing, we take it a little more seriously, we have more people seeing the same thing. What is it causing this? Does it happen at a certain day when light's striking at a certain point? What could it be? Could it be something in the electronics, whatever? And when you go through all these reasons and everything and you exhaust all your sources and you say, okay, we have no explanation for this, you got something paranormal, something out of the norm. Likewise, too, with this woman I'm talking to you about. Nothing, medical, no explanation at all. What would cause her to be ill like this, where she's unable to move, or she's paralyzed and can't move and feels like she's actually dying. She's not going to recover from this. They run every test on her under the sun. They can't find anything about it. What would you explain it as? What is it?
There's so many strange things like that.
That's my answer from now on. If I can't, aliens.
There's a whole thing about walking the souls. They're out there. They're among us.
Yeah.
And they do
I agree.
People
There's
don't
so much we
that,
don't know.
Oh no, we don't. The whole Sasquatch thing and all that.
Well,
too.
Look at our oceans
the only thing is the oceans are not. But the whole thing with the Sasquatch, though, is so far everything with Sasquatch. No one's really gotten anything tangible on it. No one has a Sasquatch voice recorded. No one has an actual really good photo of a Sasquatch. That hasn't been debunked. There are some photos out there.
Or it's just incredibly questionable.
Yeah, there you go. See, and that's exactly it. Now, I don't say they don't exist. I believe they do. But thus far, all these years that this has been going on, no one's been able to get anything. Some people say, yes, I did have an encounter with it. Well, you may have had an encounter with it. Maybe you did. Maybe you had an encounter with something, and that's what you believe it was, but I don't know.
But things like the coelacanth,
I don't like to. No one's a liar. Everyone. I don't think people. Most people that you like to take for credible witnesses. You probably find this when you're interviewing people. People that have nothing to lose or gain. They have nothing. They're not.
Those are the ones I like the most.
Yes, they're not writing a book. They're not doing a radio show. They're not promoting their tour. They're not promoting anything. They're just pouring their heart out to. And yes, I did see a Resurrection Mary. Yes, I did see something at Bachelor's Grove. Yes, I did see something up in the sky. They're not promoting anything. They're just telling you their story.
The best is little old ladies that don't want their name down.
Somebody you would never expect in a
million
years,
are the best.
And they're saying, yeah.
My favorite by
Ran
far
into that in New Orleans with somebody.
is cashiers.
It was a little old lady.
Cashiers or like checkout clerks or people at like gas stations, because they will tell you crazy stories because they're not going to get anything out of it. I had a guy tell me a great Resurrection Mary story, and I'm just like, why haven't you like recorded this for like podcasts or anything? He's like, no, I didn't think anybody would care. I'm like, dude, we're going to get you on a podcast because like this is like credible and good information.
Honestly, like I love those stories, and I feel like
over the years
us coming out like with this,
sure,
making ghosts,
more people are aware of it,
and then they might want to talk about it.
And all of this stuff, and it's it's entertainment, and even the TV shows and all these things, in a movie, anything like that, it's entertainment, it's enlightening, it's whatever. But if this does spark somebody to maybe take it a step further and maybe get a little serious about it, it's good. It does a good thing.
I agree.
It's doing a good
we need
thing.
to normalize the paranormal.
Yes,
I think it's pretty normalized now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So one of the things
it's getting there
compared to like
getting there.
I don't know how old you all are, but I mean, not that I'm so old man, but when I was growing up in like the mid 2000s in high school,
mid 2000s, jeez, I don't want to tell you how far back I go.
I think it depends on the
when
area.
You're going back to the mid 2000s.
Because I grew up it was like South Side Chicago. My parents were very different, but my parents did not support my ghost beliefs one bit. My parents would make fun of me because of my ghost beliefs.
Well, it was something people didn't talk about.
Yes.
If you talked about something, you
were
crazy. You were a candidate to go into the asylum if you started talking about this kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
The families, actually, that the Resurrection Mary's family was forbidden to say anything about it.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Can't talk about it at all. Nothing. It happened. It's done. We don't talk about that.
So my family actually, early 2000s would never talk about this. Now they're opening up to it.
Yeah.
Like, it took them, I don't know, a good 20 years, but they're finally being like, you know what, Natalie, like, maybe you're right. Maybe there's something out there.
Sure. When
my grandpa passed away, me and my mom started having experiences together, and this is something that she's like, nope, ghosts don't exist, and now...
A good many people, some of their first experiences with the paranormal are through the death of a loved one. Yeah. Some sort of message, they come back to you, they're telling you something, and that. I do a strange thing that I can do, and I don't know why I do it. Anybody ever that I visited, like when the person is being waked at the visitation, you go and they're laid out in their caskets, and you go to pay their respect. I could tell you, anybody I've ever seen, I could tell you what they were wearing, what they were buried in. I don't know why I do that, but I can remember that. And it could be somebody that I've never even met. Like a lot of times you go to a friend's mother passed away, you've never met the mother, that type of thing like that. And I go, and I can tell you what they were wearing when they were buried. And I've done that to people, and they say, oh, come on, you can't. I said, all right, tell me what my mother was buried in. I says, yeah, I'll tell you exactly. I said, she had a blouse on, a gray top. It had the silver sparkles on top. She had a pearl necklace around her neck, and the earrings that matched it. Oh, my God.
That's so weird because I do. My first funeral was
I don't know why I do it, but I do.
A 4-year-old girl that was in my school. She passed away, and I was probably like 7, and I still remember the dress that she was wearing in her casket.
4-year-old girl is easy. They usually bury them in a white gown. A white dress or pink, lavender dress, something of that nature.
Hers was
pastel.
light blue.
Yeah, something pastel. Yeah. But for some reason, it just sticks out in my mind. I don't know why. Yeah. I've gotten 33 different stories from people that claim to have had some sort of a Resurrection Mary encounter.
Awesome.
Some of them really good. Some people have very good descriptions. They got a real good look. They really give you a good description. Some people maybe a little sketchier. Some people maybe didn't even have a Mary encounter. It may have been something else, but nonetheless, they believe it was because it was in the area, that type of thing like that. So I don't doubt anybody, but nonetheless, they're just people that are just basically telling me their story.
Right.
They have nothing to lose or gain by telling you this. Yeah, I'm telling you this happened to me, and you take it for what it is. Those are people I tend to take as very credible witnesses.
I love it.
Speaking of Resurrection Mary, y'all are way more experienced in this than I. Graveyard etiquette. So, like, whenever we went and shot, like, we did an episode in Resurrection Mary, obviously the gates closed. And also, I'm not, like, that's the big part of the story is the gate, even though the bars are gone. But
oh, no, the bars are there. They've been replaced.
I'm sorry?
The bars have been replaced.
Yeah. But then, like, I was doing
I want to know what happened to the original bars that they replaced them with.
I heard they melted them.
Chucked them in a dumpster, probably. But then
not the Catholic Archdiocese.
But then, like, down south, I was in Pontiac, Illinois, one of our first episodes. There's a witch's chair in a children's cemetery. Super weird, blah, blah, blah. Watch the episode if you're interested. But while shooting the episode, obviously it's still, like, this part's an old side of this, Pontiac's an old town, but this is the old side of the graveyard. And then we're walking, just doing, like, location shots to fill. And then there's, like, a family, not super close, but probably, like, 50 yards away from us. And you can see balloons and flowers, and then we just left. And I'm like, I don't want to even, I know I just drove like 2.5 hours, but I am not about to ruin these people's terrible day already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, is that kind of like...
Yeah.
No, I agree.
I could understand that.
Like, just stay away from them,
but
obviously.
Really,
but
if you were doing what you're doing, they wouldn't really know what you were doing.
Well, I mean, we got like cameras and stuff, and it's just like, I don't...
Yeah, because you don't want to capture them like in the background.
Yeah, no.
Right.
That's
or even offend them if they're like heavily religious and that's not something they're okay with, like you communicating with the dead or whatever. You know, you don't want to upset anyone.
Yeah,
like, what do you all do when you're like, if you bump into somebody out there?
We go back to the car.
You just say like hello and then leave.
Yeah.
You don't want to be disrespectful with any of this stuff. No, you don't. You really don't. No.
Good question.
No. Some people get a little crazy with this, and they do kind of get goofy on it. I'm like, gee, this isn't the way you really want to act with this. You really don't.
No.
Well, it makes sense too, like kids, screwing around in the graveyard and stuff, because the tombstone, there's a tombstone out there too, for that lady, the supposed witch, and the local high school kids, like, I guess, like, destroyed it and chucked it in the creek that runs through there.
One of our major things is always go with respect, no matter what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
They did that with Bachelor's Grove too, where they just trashed Bachelor's Grove, and it's looking nicer.
Destroyed.
It is.
It's cleaned up quite a bit from what it used to be. The very first time I went out to Bachelor's Grove was 1971. And let me tell you, from what it looked like then to what it looks like now, even what it looked like 10 years ago, it was very overgrown.
That's about when I went.
Very,
a lot of the stones are gone, though.
Yeah, there used to be quite a few. There's about 17 stones left, or parts of stones, not even the full stones.
Yeah, it's
sad. Two did get put back in, though. They did find two in distant places that they traced back and put them back into Bachelor's Grove.
It looks nice now,
it
but
does. It's trimmed, it's clean, there's not a rubbish laying around.
They have like a little fence around it.
Yeah.
Is that because so many more people have been going out there? I've been out there once, and it was tall grass.
The popularity,
cops, you gotta, not that I would ever break the law, but, there's police and stuff. Now,
not during daylight hours. During daylight hours, you go in there.
That's not the fun time to go. You don't want to go.
See, here you go again. This is another thing that people have. Oh, we have to do these investigations at midnight when there's a thunderstorm, because that's when
ghosts are very active during the day.
Absolutely. And I got to be honest
setting the mood.
Out of the things I've seen or experienced, it's sort of half and half.
So they have bedtimes. We've noticed that ghosts, usually children and like older people, will be active during the day, and about 10 or 11 they start telling us to go to bed. We've had multiple spirits tell us.
Because old people go to bed early.
Bedtime.
After Wheel of Fortune, they hit the sack, That's what they do.
Then why are all these shows doing it at night besides the...
It looks good.
It does look good.
Now here's the other excuse they give you. Because we do it in the night hours because it's quiet.
It is quiet.
Contamination.
So, I can sort of buy that. But a lot of people, I think it's not quiet. It's just very mystique, and it adds to it because we're in the dark. It's pitch black, and something's going to manifest itself. It's going to happen in broad daylight.
A lot of these locations, they are sometimes close to a major road. Yeah. So during the night.
Makes sense.
Traffic.
Or they're public places like museums and stuff. So
if you're doing an establishment like a bar or a public place, you have to do it in the after hours. If you're trying to do it during business hours, you're not going to.
You're going to get
but
like.
Then again, sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. So it's come see, come saw.
Yeah.
Well, goodness. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about? We kind of covered a little bit of the aliens. We kind of you might be on the wrong. You might be on the wrong track there, though. Maybe you're having more.
Oh, I'm not on any track. I'm all over the place. I'm trying everything possible. I have no idea what I'm talking to.
I think it's something that you're realizing, and most paranormal investigators don't go that way. They don't say, "Oh, maybe this is something alien." There's just like maybe 3 or 4 of them I know that are thinking the way you're thinking on that, and I think maybe you're hitting the nail more on the head.
I truly believe we have run into something that was not a spirit before, because there's when you've done this long enough, you can tell like the pattern of how spirits act and what they do, what energy they give off. There's been a couple places we've been where it's like not that. There's something
out of the norm, even for the paranormal.
Yeah,
you know it. You can feel it. You can sense it. Yeah, and you can pick up on that stuff. So well, gosh almighty. Now you have a show.
Yeah.
to put a plug in for your show.
Yeah, so
where people can hear it, where they can listen to it.
So we're kicking off this year with a bang, catching up, going to do a bunch of episodes. We're shooting a bunch of episodes on the actual schedule because I got burnt out, as most people do online, trying to keep up. But the show's called Questioning the Weird. If you're interested in sharing your stories, want to come on camera, we can do Zoom call or in person, whatever, just let me know. The schedule is... I just got to remember the schedule. Tuesday night, we do have a TikTok, and we do like 1 minute little, it's called Creature Feature. Just a little quick 1 little minute things about urban legends throughout the country or world, wherever. Wednesday nights, I think we're going to do like every 2 weeks will be like the main episodes. So like interviews, documentaries, stuff like that. And then once we get moved, with this is my co-producer has just had his second child, so we might have to move this around. But Fridays we usually do Friday Night Frights. It's on Twitch, and we just kind of chat, shoot the wind, and have fun with that. But that might get moved around.
So if anybody has a story to share, they'd like to have something they contribute to your shows, any of the shows, how do they get in contact with you?
You can either
so you can interview some potential guests.
You can email me at questioningtheweird@gmail.com. We are on Instagram on Questioning the Weird. We're on Twitter at Questioning the Weird. Also on Facebook, if you want to track me down that way.
That's the one I do. I don't do the email, the Gmail, TikTok. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that. I do Facebook. That's everybody I contact. It's all Facebook, yeah, or the good old fashioned telephone.
Or telephone. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to give my number out because then I'll be blowing up. But the Facebook is it's Leland Pierson. You should be able to just shoot me a message if you like.
I've gotten some very good calls from people on the phone, and I have no idea how they got my number. And boy,
maybe I'll get a burner.
I've gotten some good calls from people too. Yes, and I've had like hours-long conversations with some folks and stuff about things. And I thought, wow, I don't know. And I never even thought to ask them how they got my number. I was just so thrilled with the conversation, the way it went, and what they had to say. Yeah.
Sometimes in the paranormal, things just happen.
They do.
That's what I've learned.
Welcome to my world.
So much weird stuff.
Yeah, welcome to my world. Yeah, as you know how this works. So, yeah, that's how it goes. Wow, this has been fantastic. That was a fast hour. Actually, we went over the hour. I knew we would. I knew that was going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're going to have to, come back and do it again when your schedules allow for it. I know, everybody has, work they do, and everybody has their normal life too, and then they have their paranormal life. So, yeah, we know how that works. Yeah. So good. So now, where can we? You guys are all over the place. You seem to be very, very much in demand. People like being around you guys, and that you're like rock stars of paranormal or something.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, very much so. Yeah, which is good.
We are ACG Paranormal on pretty much every platform, even MySpace.
ACG.
MySpace is not functional, but I made one.
ACG. There was one group, and I was interested in doing something. I don't join any one in particular paranormal group. For a couple of reasons, because you kind of know about some of what goes on in the paranormal and that. And all of a sudden now, if you're aligning yourself with one group, you've just alienated yourself from 10 others.
Yeah.
Because they don't like somebody that's in that group. So, if you're in that group, then I don't like
There's
you.
Paradrama.
Yeah.
Clicky
So
like high school.
We try to
worse than high school. High school's tame.
No swirlies?
Our team is just us and our teammate Cat.
Yeah.
Our girl Cat.
Yeah, and I actually had one team tell me, "Oh no, you're too old." Because we only take people. We take people that are between the 20 and 35 years old. You're past.
That's
the
very narrow.
Got a bench press, 25 pounds.
And I thought,
the Botox.
Yeah, and I thought to myself, I said, well, I kind of was like seeing ghosts before you were born. I'm like, I don't know. I might have a little something I could share with you. But okay, fine with me.
We try to keep the peace. As much as we can.
Yeah. No, I just laugh things off. Yeah, you have to. Yeah. But I just feel bad when somebody does something to people that are unsuspecting.
Yes.
They're kind of, and then because what the thing is with this, when people do things that are kind of goofy like that, it ruins the credibility of the whole business.
Exactly.
And people didn't look at this and they say, now look. How do you guys want us to take you seriously when you're presenting this before the public? How do you ever expect to be a respectable field, with this kind of stuff going on? So that's why I feel bad about that, And I like to point the warning signs out to people. A lot of times I sound like the devil's advocate, and I'm really not. I really am not. I mean, trust me on that. But I like to kind of give people the warning signs, what they should kind of watch out for with this stuff. So, what can I say? Everybody to their own. No one has to listen to me. I'm not certified either, so you don't have to listen to me. Eliot, thank you so much.
Thank you
what a pleasure to finally
me.
meet you and finally see the face, Nice to see you in person. Yeah, Nat, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Leland Pierson.
Thanks, Bob, for having us.
Wonderful having you on here. Great, wonderful. I'm so glad you could all make it because, like I said, I know everybody has their schedules. When you're retired, you kind of have that time. You can kind of adjust things. You have a little more free time. But I know when you work, I know what it's like. I used to work too, so it's tough. I know how that goes. Everybody has to earn a living. No one makes a living doing this. Or very few people make a living doing it.
It would be nice.
Yeah. Down the line it will.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, down the line it will, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then there are people that are against that, too. They say, no, we should be making money from this. Oh, come on. I think
a livable wage.
Of course.
I feel like if we make money from this, we can put it into treating the spirits how they properly should be treated.
Yeah.
I want to go to Hawaii.
Ghost
I'm no different than anybody else. I like running a tour or doing something where I get paid for it, but that's not my main goal. I don't just go running after the money. That's not my main thing.
No, not
But sure it is. I'm no different from anyone else. I like to do something and you get paid for it and be rewarded for it too, of course.
Honestly, just seeing these locations.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
It's very rewarding.
You guys are like New Orleans people. Have you ever been down to New Orleans?
No, we were supposed to go.
Oh, my God. I've been down to New Orleans so many. I actually, before I retired, I actually wanted to relocate down there. But then Katrina hit, and I didn't do it. I was glad I didn't do it.
I was supposed to go the week before Katrina.
Me too. Same thing with me. The trip was all set up. I was going, and then it hit, and I thought, well, we'll see what happens. And then I realized the severity of the storm. And I said, no, I'm not going that year. So then it was 2 years before I went back again. And by then things were kind of up and running again and that. But they're a very psychic city. Lot of activity goes on there. Every time I've gone down to New Orleans, I've had some experience of one way or another. Cool. Yeah, something going on. So, yeah, there's a lot of activity that goes on in the city of New Orleans. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and there again, you have so much death and so much going on there, you can't help but not have activity. Yeah. And the water. We all know about water, too, being a nice carrier. And your city is pretty surrounded by a lot of water. Yeah, so, yeah. So it's cool. You got to get down there. But you guys will fit in great. I fit in great too until I open my mouth. When I start talking, I'm from the Midwest. I don't fit in. Yeah, we got that Chicago. You don't realize you got like a Midwest accent or a Chicago accent until you're somewhere else. Yeah. When you open your mouth, then you give yourself away.
I love your accent. I don't have an accent.
You have an accent.
You all have accents.
Yeah. When you go to New Orleans, there are different accents. There are New Orleanians, and then there are people that have relocated to New Orleans, and then there are the Bayou people. And then there are the Cajuns, and I can't understand anything they say. And, so you got, it's a nice mix of folks down there and that. And they have different words for things. I went to go buy a pair of shoes one time, and I asked for a shoehorn to try the shoes on. And 3 salespeople looked at me like I was out of my mind. A shoehorn? A shoehorn? A shoehorn? I says, you put it in the shoe. You slip the shoe. Oh, you mean a shoe spoon.
What? Shoe spoon?
It's a shoe spoon. They have different words for things.
To be honest, so the shoe spoon kind of makes more sense than a shoe horn.
It does.
They have different...
I'm going to start saying
I think there again, historically, I think at one time it may have been made from horn, right. From a cow's horn or something, so that's why it got to be called a shoe horn. Yeah. But anyway, they got different words for stuff. So anyway, but you got to get on the lines. Thank you again. Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Please come back again.
Anytime.
When your schedules allow it, you're welcome to come back on, yeah. And now you got a couple of good guests here for your show.
Yeah.
We got some experiments to run, too.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds exciting.
There you go. And you claim you're not an investigator.
No. I'm just
now
a guy with
you are.
He's an investigator.
Just have too much free time.
He's like you sort of kind of maybe don't really say, no, I don't have the ability. He's sort of saying, no, I'm not really an investigator. But he is. You are. You just don't realize you are. Or you don't want to admit that you are.
Just want to see it. If I see it, then
you're an investigator.
That's honestly how it is, though.
Yeah. Like you're the doubting Thomas. I want the proof.
If you're into tech, once you get your tech to see something that's weird, then it changes your mindset.
We did find one thing. It's still, you know what though? I was interviewing Bob, not Bob. God, I'm spacing his name. We were just talking about it out front.
Jack, Tony.
No, he has the ambulance.
Oh, Dave Olson.
Dave Olson. Gosh, I'm so sorry,
great
Dave,
guy.
if you're listening.
They're all great. All of them are, yeah.
But we did an interview, and we're out at this old college where Chicago State Hospital used to be. And then as I'm editing the audio, there's this faint scream in the background. Obviously, I asked Dave about it, and he's like, well, there is. I forget the main road out there. I'm tired. And it's it could be that, but we were way in the loading dock, so it's kind of that's a loud scream. And I think, though, I sent it to him to ask his opinion, and I think he thinks I was trying to get a gotcha on him because he wouldn't tell me one way, which is fine. But it did get featured on, I don't know if you've ever been on YouTube, but watch Chills.
Chills.
It was
on
that.
Watched Chills a couple times.
No, I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's just top 10 goofy videos, but it was on there. But also, I have that video on the YouTube channel with everything else. But I'll show you if you It's not a gotcha. It was just there. It's probably just somebody screaming in the street, but it was definitely. But still, see, I get any evidence. I'm like, I don't know. Could be this,
but
or this.
You're kind of doing it the right way,
right?
And that's what paranormal investigators do. You sort of look through all the sources, and nothing that you have that you can explain it. You say, okay, we have something now that is paranormal. We just have no explanation for it.
I always like to say, question everything.
People are seeing that shadow move across the building or whatever like that. We can't explain the lighting. We can't explain the time of the day, any conditions. We have nothing that can. When you exhaust all the logical sources, how do we explain this?
Right.
How do we explain a person being very ill for like 2 weeks and then there's no medical explanation for it? And, there's stuff out there. I always believe this, that when we leave this life and we go into the next realm, we're going to know everything. It's going to be all clear to us. Now I know what this was about. Now it's clear to me. And
I should have built this device.
We're going to have all that knowledge. We're going to have it. Yeah. That's what I firmly believe. I really do. I says all of a sudden these things are going to be clear to us.
A lot of the ITC, which is the spirit boxes and everything, a lot of them...
There's so many different ones
have come through afterwards. There's been a lot of experiments. I don't know all the names and everything, but where they've picked up former scientists that have worked on it saying things after they've died, like hinting, hey, we should have done this, or like, hey, this is the frequency, stuff like that, which is...
Sounds like one of the last...
What was it?
Sounds like Houdini. He was he said when he died.
I was just going to mention Houdini. I was going to mention Thomas Edison. One of the last things Thomas Edison was going to work on, never got the chance to before he passed away, he was going to develop a machine to contact the dead. That's what he wanted to do. And Henry Ford put his last dying breath in a test tube. And he has Edison's last breath sealed in a test tube. He's got that. What they're going to do with it, I don't know, but it's there. And Harry Houdini... very much into the psychic phenomena and stuff. Houdini did things that we don't know how he did them and all that. And, of course, when he was around in the heyday, this was all real popular. And not so much the paranormal as much as seances. And he, a very famous story about Harry Houdini with a seance. But anyway, he left a $25,000 prize to anybody that could come up with definite proof of something existing. And to date, I don't think anyone's ever claimed the thing. One very, very famous medium that he went to, which was a very, very high-priced New York medium that was very famous for this and everything, and Harry Houdini went, not in disguise or incognito. She knew full well who he was and who his wife was, and went to her, and she contacted Houdini's mother. And they had this wonderful conversation, and she told him all kind of things about his mother, and they had this wonderful conversation and everything, and Houdini sort of went along with it, and so did his wife Bess. And when it was all over, he says, that was all very good, and you found out a lot of things, and you told me a lot of things, but one thing you sort of messed up on, I'd like you to explain that to me, is my mother never spoke English. All her life, she only spoke Hungarian. How come when you talked, she was talking in English? Oh, because the spirits in the next world all speak English. So it's really nice to know that this medium knew that the language of choice for everybody in the next realm is English.
So we've actually captured...
some voices you can't understand.
We've had translators come in.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cool because, Spanish, I was I don't speak Spanish, so we actually, the next time we went to this location...
Yeah, we were like, wait, we'll bring someone that can understand what you're saying.
And then they were like, we're tired, come back tomorrow, and then the guy that spoke Spanish was like, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
I had a man do that to me. I'm looking at him. Actually, I was doing a radio show, and a man came in. And he's dark suit, older... perfect. He was an older man, and hello, and this kind of thing. I says, I got to stop. I got to acknowledge this, and the guy's there, and he says he's talking, and I says, I can't understand what you sort of speaking like broken English, and he says he's sort of like getting mad. Well, you should know what I'm talking about. You should know this, I says, no, I don't, but he liked the music. Because I used to play like opera, because I collect old opera records from way back and all that. And occasionally I would play something that would have some sort of like some opera star that supposedly haunts a famous opera house in Europe or something, and that. And he said he liked that. It was supposed to be a heavy metal show that went on before, and I thought, you like heavy metal? Oh no, he liked when I played the opera in it. So I would tried getting him back on with all my might. I says, maybe if we play some more opera or something, I can get him to come back in. Never again. Just the one time he came. But he sort of got mad at me. He's like, well, why don't you understand what I'm saying? I said, no, I can't understand you. I don't speak your language. Maybe I have the Polish last name, but I don't speak the language. I'm sorry, I really can't, And he sort of got mad about that. But he sort of spoke broken in that, but I couldn't really understand everything.
Circle back. Is this a real person that walked in?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant...
Okay, I was confused too.
All right, cool. I really thought you were like in the studio.
That's how I talk about them. To me, that's how I do.
That's how I do.
Yeah,
we
do.
do.
Sort of like, when I say, they came in and that, so, yeah.
I'm like, you should have called the police if a man broke into your studio, booth.
No, there was no way he could get in there. No, this was when I was doing
Cops aren't going to be able to arrest him.
When I was doing the show at the other place, and we would do the show like at 9 o'clock at night, and I actually went to school there way back in the day, and it was in room 400. It was the only room on the 4th floor, and you had to go like up the staircase to go there to the studio. And here was this man there in the doorway, talking and everything. Like now, the director, Todd Paulson, was like sitting like where you're sitting with his back to it, so he couldn't see it. And I'm looking right at it, and there's the guy. And I says, "Oh God, I got to stop. I've got to address what's going on over here," And he's looking at me like, "What the heck is going on? Who are you talking to? What's Yeah, so
you're creeping me out. I got my back to the door.
Well, no, people, like I said, we've had people on this show that claim they have some make. No, honestly, me, myself, nothing. But maybe just not for me. Maybe they're the right person. They come in and they're the person that's healing something, not me. Right person, wrong time, not the right conditions, whatever it may be. Everything has to kind of click, and then, boom, it's there for you. That's how this kind of works. Yeah, it'd be nice if we could just call them up at any time. Now, there are some mediums that claim they can do that. There are some mediums that claim they can just have these direct phone numbers to people, and they can just bring them right up. Yeah.
For me, they just kind of randomly come, and I'm just like, oh, hello. But I can't do, the whole, can you talk to my grandpa? No,
I don't think any of that.
No, I can't.
There again, good seance, bad seance. Have you been to any seances?
I have not.
I don't think I have either.
Good seance, bad seance. You go to a seance. Seance that you go to, the bigger the group is, be a little more suspicious about it.
Mm-hmm.
You go to a group, you go to a seance, and there's maybe 25 or 30 people. The medium's going to stand there, and she's going to, I'm picking up on an older lady. She wears a printed house dress.
I feel like that's going to fit somebody.
Exactly. Out of 25 or 30 people, it's going to apply to 6 or 7 of those people.
Yeah.
There's a man I'm picking up on. This man is wearing like a dark blue uniform. He wears eyeglasses. He pushes the glasses up on his head.
Oh, my God, that's my dad.
Oh, yeah.
That's my dad, too.
How did I do that? Yeah. So you got to be a little leery of that,
Yeah.
When the medium is a little too general to be... It's going to appeal to somebody out of that group.
Yeah, I need like a date and a very direct name.
Yeah,
not basically starts with a J.
That's what I said at the beginning here. It's got to be, I like working with a good medium. There are some mediums that are very, very good. Some mediums that have some skills, but maybe not to the fullest. And then there's some mediums that really aren't mediums at all, but like to think they are,
There has been a couple times where I have gotten names oh yeah, my dad who passed away, and I was like, oh, Dominic, and they're just like, but it's not like he presented himself. I'm just like, wait, how did I know that?
She freaks me out sometimes.
I get a name, and I'll tell somebody about a name, and I don't know what it is. And I tell them the name, and I say, I hope it means something to you, because it doesn't to me. And then they say, oh, yeah, it does. I know who that is. And oh, my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of give you this blank look, and then I know I hit something there. And I don't know what it is, but I'm telling them, so sometimes you're just the messenger.
Yes.
You don't know what it's really about. Yeah, you know how it goes, so, yeah.
I do.
Wow. This went on longer than I thought. We still continue. Yes, I said we can go another hour.
We could talk. We could talk.
I could talk like a good
This can go on and on
3
and on and
hours.
on and on. I can keep going, yeah.
Everybody passes
Thank you
out.
all, and please come back again sometime. John, sign us off. Give us the X-Files music there.
You have been listening to Paranormal Radio with Bob Trzeciak from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network on Monday, March the 14th, the year 2022. Paranormal Radio was directed and produced by John DeVita And our special thanks to the executive producer of Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, Mr. John Shikanda. This broadcast was pre-recorded on Monday, March the 14th, the year 2022. Until next time, friends, please be safe and thanks for listening.